Oh, you know how we do here on The Morning Rush? We always bring you the stars, the celebrities, the business people, the rich ones, and sometimes the richer ones. So we choose to say how we're going to define our next guest, if he's one of the richer ones or the celebrities. I don't know. But Ken, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Is that a new face on TV?
I'll accept poor in spirit.
Oh, yeah?
Because
Poor
the
in
Lord
spirit?
said, blessed are those who are poor in spirit.
You need to be richer in spirit. I'm richer in spirit. What was your scripture today in the morning?
My reading was, my favorite verse is Romans 8:28. All things work for the good to those who love the Lord, those who are called by Him.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's great. Keneth Sharpe is the man that we're talking to today. He's a businessman, and of course, he's a guru in the world of real estate. But before that, he's a family man, which is why I asked him his scripture today. And of course, remember, we're celebrating Movember. It's the month where we commemorate men and their mental issues, of course, some health issues as well. So this is a month that, we get into that. So Keneth, as a man himself, how is he at home?
Well, I don't have Mandevo, as you can see.
But
I see you're growing yours.
I'm trying to keep them
So
salty
I did the challenge about 2-3 years ago because the men in the company were all together. We had that kind of collectiveness, solidarity to support each other. And I think I grew a goatee with a moustache. But I don't have much facial hair, so if I shave every day, it's okay. But I can also shave every 3 days. You wouldn't notice much.
You didn't see much. That's fantastic. So we're just talking about Ken at home as the man.
Yes.
And obviously talking about these serious issues, especially mental health, is something that is affecting a lot of men out there.
Look, I think not only men, but I think youth, the youth of today. If I was to take the average population in Zimbabwe, which is 25 years old, 62% of our population is actually under 25 years old.
Yeah.
I would say almost every single one of those young adults and teenagers are going through some areas of depression, anxiety, mental health challenges. I think it's a sign of the times, with the rapid digitalization of our world, the use of social media, the influence it has on the young people today. I think it's been largely negative. And for me, I'm now 52 years old. I'm not of the generation Z, the Z generation that is being affected the most.
You're a bloomer.
I'm actually millennial.
You're millennial?
Yeah.
Oh.
Y generation. So I think, but my daughter was born into Z, so she's one of those people in that age group that really understands and appreciates what young people go through today. And I think it's significant. We mustn't underestimate it as their elders, as their parents. And we need to try and influence them with positive encouragement. And that's one of the reasons why I do the Phoenix podcast every Sunday, 9 p.m., actually your channel, ZTN. We have the show, the podcast, which takes people from nothing and showcases their stories of how they can achieve something. And that's the message of hope that we want to deliver to the young generation. Because actually, I'm a Harvard graduate. I'm wearing my Harvard jacket today.
I can see that.
I'm not in the business mind frame, I'm in the thinking mind frame.
Absolutely.
So I was at the 5-year reunion in Boston last month, and one of the things they talked about extensively in most of the classes was longevity and how to overcome diseases of old age, like Alzheimer's. And they actually found the strongest single reason to prevent the onset of early Alzheimer's is to have a sense of purpose in your life. So my message to the young generation out there will be, find a purpose, a worthy purpose, and live towards it, because that will help you to not look at the negative. It will help you to look at the glass half full rather than half empty.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the things I do at home. You asked how's Ken Sharpe at home. I try to discipline myself. I believe discipline is very important, self-discipline. To have a strong, healthy mind requires discipline. And if you look at what is the most important thing for God, it's obedience. Obedience comes before sacrifice. And obedience and discipline, they go really well together. So whether I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to prepare myself so I can be on the 7 a.m. show, I'm very disciplined about it. I have a routine. As soon as I open my eyes, I'll be reading the scriptures, the verse of the day. I'm on YouVersion, and I'll read that verse and then put it in my own words and send it back out through my channels. The second thing I'll do is get up and prepare myself for the morning, wash my face, maybe have a shower, but definitely do some exercise, whether it's just stretches, whether it's walking around the block, whether it's some light weights. Just a quick 20 minutes can make a big difference to your day. And then my mindset and my spirit is settled. The body is now energized, and I'm ready for the day.
That's an interesting routine there. You need to make sure that you get some sort of sweat in your routine, and of course, before you do that, make sure the spirit is settled, and then the physical will come into play, and obviously, you will have control of the emotional if you work in that manner. We are talking to Keneth Sharpe. He is a property mogul, as they call them these days, and of course, I want to get into that now. Infrastructure development in the country is something that is very huge that we're talking about, and it's something that excites you. I know that for a fact. And it was great also, by the way, to spend some time with you. Was it on Friday night or on Thursday night, actually? Yes. We're at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange
the VFX,
issues. Yeah, and of course the VFX cocktail. You are one of the guys that are listed there. Perhaps just open that world a little bit for us in terms of the impact of infrastructure development and the country's development from an economic perspective.
I'll start with our listing that we did last year in April.
Congratulations on
thank
that.
you. Yes, so we're a year and a half into the listing, being a public company. Under the scrutiny of the public eye, it's a different arena for us. Corporate governance, being used to private business for the last 32 years that I've been in business was an unusual step for me to take to go into the public arena. But I felt two things, and this comes back to the infrastructure. I felt that firstly, we need to give an opportunity for Zimbabweans to take ownership of the story that we are doing for Zimbabwe, which is to put 1 billion bricks in the ground by 2050. This is no mean task. We're talking about $5 billion of infrastructure investment in real estate on the land bank that we currently own. So if we extrapolate that over the next 25 years that we have, we're talking of hundreds of millions of dollars a year of sales that we need to make. And of course, we're not yet there, neither as a company nor as a country. But the second reason why we listed, the more important reason, is that we believe in the future of Zimbabwe tomorrow. And we're showing that we're putting our money on the table and saying, let's back Zimbabwe. Let's support brand Zimbabwe. Let's showcase to the rest of the world that in God's words, the least, with the least can be the most.
Absolutely.
In fact, today's verse of the day was Corinthians. I'll read it to you because you asked me earlier.
Yeah.
It says that, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities and reproaches and necessities and persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I'm weak, then I'm strong. 2 Corinthians 12:10. And being weak is the thing that God likes. Because he likes to take the least and make it the most so that his glory can be best seen through those weak things. And I believe that there's no coincidence that Zimbabwe is the last country on the list of countries. Because God says in his word, the last will be first. So we as a property business in Zimbabwe are taking that message and that mantra of bringing Dubai to Zimbabwe, of taking us as a third world country and showcasing us as a first world country. There's no reason why we have to feel like second-rated citizens. We need to be first-rated citizens, first-grade citizens. And we need to be proud of our country. We need to be proud of what we do. So really, we have worked hard over the last 7 years, tirelessly, to take our developments and showcase them as world-class products.
You've done a lot of marketing and a lot of stepping out as a company, in which most property companies are not really doing in Zimbabwe. But there's a lot of projects also that are going on at the moment. In terms of the sector itself, what's your probably your bird's eye view as a business person, first of all, and obviously as a citizen of this country? How do you view the entire infrastructure development sector?
Firstly, we stay very focused on our developments. We have 9 projects under construction right now. And we are one of the largest companies in Zimbabwe in property development. In fact, we're the largest listed entity on the stock exchange. Our counter is the largest share cap at the moment on the VFX. So that carries with it a lot of responsibility. But if you look at the ripple effect, for example, let me take 2 of those projects that are currently going under construction. One is in Pokogara, where we have 70 houses. It's the first time in our history, I don't know how many companies in Zimbabwe are delivering 25 houses within 1 month. In fact, there's 5 weeks left until the annual shutdown, which is another story. I have a complaint about that. And I'm going to be lobbying hard next year to remove this annual shutdown because we lose a whole month. But on the 15th of December, everyone shuts down in the construction industry.
Is that even a good thing, though, that we have to shut down?
No, it's not
business?
a good thing. It's always, old way of thinking.
Yeah, I'm always one of those people, like, I'm very well-traveled, as you would imagine. You get to other countries, they operate 6 to 6.
Yes.
They don't shut down.
No, it's impossible.
Anything.
Especially when we're building a country and we've got a timeline of 1 billion bricks by 2050. Come on, I can't lose a month a year.
4:30 p.m. West Prom is closed.
No. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. It's too much. And people can take leave gradually over the year. There's no reason, because we build up the momentum. Imagine we're finishing 25 houses at one time.
Yeah.
In 5 weeks' time, we have to hand over 25 houses. Completed, handed over, keys, all done. So when you look at that kind of pressure and momentum that you have to build to that, then suddenly you have a hard stop and everyone goes away for a month. But if they'd continued working, that momentum, it's like a pendulum, you know.
Yeah.
It can swing further and dig deeper. So coming back to the position of those two developments, so we have Pokogara on the one side, Millennium Heights on the other side, where we're building 1,000 flats. We're now on Block 4. We're just about to break ground on Block 5. Block 3, we just handed over last month. Almost 300 units completed in that development. And if you look at those two developments, within 1 kilometer of those developments, I'm proud to say there's 21 other developers that have come in, and they're putting $103 million of product into this market in that area of, let's say, Vanona, Borrowdale West alone. So if we take that and extrapolate it across the whole city, across the whole country, you'll be surprised how much development there was. The second thing was I was at a conference hosted by CEF in Birmingham during the summer in the UK, and there were almost 3,000 people, Zimbabweans, that came to that conference over the 2 days, and not one of them were not interested in buying a property. Hundreds of properties were sold, changed hands at that conference. I estimated around $1.5 billion of product on the table on offer at that particular day.
Wow.
In this economy, $1.5 billion. In fact, in any economy of the world, $1.5 billion is a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
We are currently in the budget season as a country, and we're definitely, you know, we just had the pre-budget, movements with the Minister of Finance there. Do you think there's going to be a considerable chunk within the infrastructure development industry?
I'm really hoping there will be, because our government needs to recognize that any economy is backed by a strong real estate sector. And for too long, the real estate sector in Zimbabwe has been ignored. But it is the pillar of this economy. If you look at what's happening at the moment in Harare alone, you'll find construction sites everywhere. You know, the biggest sign of confidence anyone can see when they fly into a country is seeing cranes in the sky.
Absolutely.
Of course, we don't have many cranes in the sky, but if you look at the number of construction sites, bricks on those sites, scaffolding and platforms being erected, construction workers, you will see thousands of sites across the city. And that is a sure sign of confidence. So if government is to back that, one of the most important things they can do is put money into infrastructure. The city of Harare, the city fathers, as sad as it is, have failed to provide the services to the city. We don't have adequate water. We don't have adequate sewer. We don't have adequate roads. And we as developers are having to fund that on our own, which is not normal. You don't find that in any other country where the developers to fund that infrastructure servicing out of their own pocket.
It's such a cash-intensive economy. I think it must be very tough as a businessman who's doing such mega projects. You obviously have to put quite a huge contingency of funding for service delivery to start with. So you have to service the roads by yourself. Which is something that is very abnormal, I think.
It is. And when we take the extreme decision, like in Pomona City, where we didn't do chip and spray. Chip and spray is the cheaper way of putting a road surface down. We actually did asphalt. And our cost went from $500,000 to $2 million just on one development. Just on servicing 500 stands.
But now, Ken, obviously people are, they talk about property being so expensive in Zimbabwe. Compared to other, maybe Southern African countries, to be precise. Could that be one of the reasons why it is?
I mean, we were looking at our QC and bill of quantities yesterday, on Saturday, and with a South African group, and they were saying just cement alone, is double in Zimbabwe versus South Africa. Why should our cement be double? I don't want to encourage government to regulate cement, but at the same time, there's no importation, so there's no free trade, so there's no competition, so the prices remain high. Cement should come down by at least 50%.
I believe so, but also again, right now we are almost importing even all the raw materials of actual, cement. How can we, run away from that particular?
There's no reason for it. We have abundant minerals in the ground, including limestone, which is one of the main components.
But we're getting it out of Zambia right now, actually.
So there's a problem. So really it should involve both mining and Ministry of Finance to come up with a solution to say, how do we support the real estate sector? How do we remove barriers of trade? How do we remove duties? Why should we be paying duties on those imported materials or those imported finishes when in fact we want to build the country? We want to encourage people to be able to have easy access across the border to bring in those things that are more competitive so we can build faster, we can build more effectively, more efficiently, and the price should then come down. But also we have to look at relativity. It depends where you look at. I mean, if you look at downtown Sandton or the higher income areas of Cape Town, property prices there are still 3 to 5 times higher than Zimbabwe.
They're much, much, much higher. Yeah. Like you look at a house in Borodro and a house in Sandton,
yes.
You know, it's a different story altogether. But Ken, I think I have to let you go at this point because we're going to have this conversation until tomorrow.
Sure.
You know, when we meet, we always have these very deep conversations. I think you are doing well. That is a great thing for the country. Perhaps you should continue on that particular trajectory and try and get as many people to Harvard as possible.
Thank you, Chief Kof. we actually are thinking about that.
Yeah,
I started a business academy.
Oh, really?
Yes, in July, 1st of July this year. We had 1,000 applicants. I took in the first cohort of about 100 people, and they're graduating next month. So it's the Sharpe Business Academy, the SBA, where they qualify with an SBA diploma, and we actually do Harvard business case studies.
Ah, that's absolutely fantastic. In fact, that is the best part of this particular interview, and I think it's something that you really need to project as much as you can. We need people who have an understanding of the actual relativity that you were talking about earlier on in terms of business. Everyone is getting
and to make it affordable. I mean, I paid over $150,000 for my degree at Harvard.
It's a lot
3-year course, a lot of money. I'm only charging $100 a month to these guys. So sign up. Look at the link; it's there on my website. We're looking at the new cohort 1st of January.
And finally, there's a project that is of interest to me anyways. I think that's Warden Hills, right?
Yes.
How's that going? That's the latest groundbreaking that you did,
it is.
Which invited the president at that level.
It was
you
a
seem
state
to
event.
be doing things at that high level.
Well, you know, when a big project happens, we're talking about a $300 million project. The largest project, not only in Zimbabwe.
$250 million.
More.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a golf course that is the first time at PGA. It's called USGA Championship Quality, which cost $10 million US. The first time in the country, the second one in Africa, and the first time Zimbabwe has branded residences. Branded residences is when a hotel, a 5-star luxury hotel, allows you to use their name on the residences. This is the first time it's being done on the sub-Saharan continent, here in Zimbabwe. So, of course, that's big news, and we needed to offer the state the opportunity to see what we're doing. His Excellency loved the idea, and they then took over and made it a state event. Up to now, we spent almost $3 million. We only broke ground in August. 3 million of the 10 million. The golf course is completely being transformed. If I tell you what's going on there, you won't believe me.
No, I always see it. I mean, I take a drive there quite a bit, and I used to play golf a bit on that course there. There's lots of snakes there, so hopefully you get rid of them. Great course as well. But now I think it will be even much better with the kind of investment that you're talking about. And of course, Ken, always a pleasure to have you here, and we're definitely going to be looking out for the next episode of The Phoenix.
Thanks, Chief Kota.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Konapo, ipapo, ba ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. The place to be.